What if the most powerful country in human history is also trapped in a war it can never win? Not because it's weak, but because the rules of power have changed. The United States has the strongest military on Earth, bases across the globe, the most advanced technology ever built, and yet, from Vietnam to Afghanistan, it has struggled to finish what it started. So here's the real question. If no country can truly stop America, then why can't America win? 2. The superpower. Paradox on paper, the answer looks obvious. The United States is still the most dominant force on Earth. Nearly $1 trillion annual defense spending, more than 750 military bases worldwide, global reach in air, sea, land, and space. No other country comes close. Not China. Not Russia. Even combined, they struggle to match the full spectrum of U.S. power. So logically, the U.S. should be unstoppable. And in a traditional war, it almost is. But here's where things start to break. Because modern conflict is no longer about destroying armies, it's about surviving long enough to outlast them. 3. The illusion of winning. For most of history, winning a war meant one thing: capture land, defeat the enemy army, raise your flag, simple. But today, that model is broken. Let's look at Iraq. The U.S. removed the government in weeks, total military dominance. But what came after? Years of insurgency, instability, endless conflict. Same story in Afghanistan. Fast invasion, quick victory, long, exhausting occupation, and eventually, withdrawal. Not because the U.S. lost militarily, but because it couldn't control the outcome. 4. The new rules of war. Here's the truth no one talks about. Weak countries don't need to win. They just need to not lose. That's it. Because for the United States, war is expensive. Time is limited. Public support fades. But for smaller or weaker opponents, they fight on their own land. They have fewer expectations, and they can wait indefinitely. This flips the entire equation. The stronger you are, the harder it becomes to win. 5. Why no one can stop the U.S. Now let's be clear. No country can directly stop the United States in a full-scale war. Why? Because of overwhelming advantages. 1. Global military network, bases in strategic locations worldwide, forces already deployed. 2. Technological superiority, stealth aircraft, drones, cyber warfare, AI systems. 3. Naval dominance, aircraft carriers controlling global oceans. 4. Nuclear deterrence, mutually assured destruction, prevents direct conflict. Even powers like China, Russia avoid direct war because the cost would be catastrophic. 6. So why can't it win? Because winning today isn't about power, it's about control, stability, sustainability, and this is where the United States hits its limits. You can destroy a country, but you can't easily rebuild it. You can remove a government, but you can't force people to accept a new one. And most importantly, you can't occupy the world. 7. The manpower problem. There's a military concept known as the Quinlivan ratio. To control a population, you need about 20 soldiers per 1,000 civilians. Now think about that. The world has over 8 billion people. That would require 160 million troops. The U.S. has around 1.3 million active personnel. Even occupying a single massive country like China or India would require tens of millions of troops. It's simply impossible. 8. The real battlefield. So the battlefield has shifted. It's no longer just physical. Now it's about economy, information, cyber systems, global influence. This is where the U.S. still dominates. But even here, challenges are rising. 9. Cliffhanger. Because in the next part, we're going to break down something even more powerful than the military. How the U.S. uses the global economy as a weapon, and how countries like China and Russia are trying to break free from that system. Because once that happens, everything changes.